was pregnant with Carson, I definitely noticed something different. From about 15 weeks, I started having contractions, and they discovered that I had some blood clots. I was just kind of praying not to get an infection, and then I got one. They ran some tests. I had an amniocentesis, and I definitely had a big infection, and they said, we have to take the baby. I had a C-section, and Carson was born, and he was tiny. He was 1 pound, 12 ounces when I had him, and we just prayed for the best. At that point, I mean, we were just hoping he was gonna live. Yeah. And then they called us, and they said, we need you to come into the hospital right away. So we went to the hospital, and that's when we found out he had a brain bleed.
Some kids who are born very early will have hemorrhage into their ventricles, which are fluid cavities in the middle of the brain. This hemorrhage can sometimes cause hydrocephalus, in which that fluid doesn't get reabsorbed, doesn't circulate properly, and eventually starts to put pressure on the brain, and that was happening with Carson.
We knew the word cerebral palsy was going to enter our lives, and we knew that it was probably going to be something, but you still aren't ready for it. Anytime you have to hear it, you're not ready to accept that your child's going to have something for life. And we transferred our physical therapy to Children's Hospital almost immediately and started seeing Krista Blanchet. He was about 3 or 4 years old the first time Krista mentioned a surgery called selective dorsal rhizotomy.
It's a surgery in which we take several hours and test some of the nerve roots from which impulses come from the legs. We test to see, when we stimulate them, whether they cause abnormal contractions of the muscles in the legs.
If a nerve gets cut incorrectly in a selective dorsal rhizotomy, it can mean detrimental things like your child is non-ambulatory, which means they don't walk anymore.
We were very nervous, obviously, going into this, and Dr. Wilkinson, he has confidence in the job that he's going to do. And even during the day of the surgery, I wasn't worried, because you knew he was in good hands, and I think that we're lucky that we live in a city with this type of hospital that we're able to get some great care. It's pretty amazing.
This is a surgery that takes 2 years to fully realize the outcome, and watching how slow the progress is when you give your child a brand new set of legs, and that's essentially what we did. So he had to relearn everything. He's learning how to sit appropriately, stand appropriately, go from sitting to standing appropriately, take steps the right way with the right gait, and then eventually he'll learn to run differently again, and just how to function with his new feet and his new legs.
And now that the surgery's over, I get to do fun stuff.
We've been visited by lots of celebrities. The best thing I think that's happened for Carson is visits by a Bronco player. Cody Latimer has been here. Carson was really animated during that, and actually took some time to show Cody a new touchdown pose, which Cody then used in the game. We've used that in his therapies, like when we've been challenged or he's having a tough time, we'll say things like, what would Cody do in this situation? Carson's really motivated by that.
Football players, they run fast. When I grow up, I'd like to be a football player.
We like to play Xbox. We sometimes play with other games that we have in the basement too.
He's a total competitor, which is good for a kid that is challenged. They need to be competitive and compete against themselves to make progress, and he does that every day.
Yeah. I think when you meet Carson, you understand he's got some challenges. This is a big deal that he's got. I mean, cerebral palsy, along with everything else that comes with his brain bleed, is a major challenge, and we just don't see it. He doesn't get held back. He's just got a really good personality and a really good spirit, and he's just a tough kid.
Someone like Carson brings so much joy to the staff, but also to the other kids.
He's just like a piece of art, he's such a unique little guy, and he's so comfortable with who he is.
I feel like champions are people who don't take no for an answer, and Carson is wired that way. He doesn't take no for an answer. He's committed to goals that he has, and there are so many children in the hospital that without the support of the community wouldn't get the treatment that they get. There's a lot of things out there that you can support, but sick children, that's out of their control. They're innocent in all of this. So they need the support, and what would make you feel better than to give to something that is supporting a child who wouldn't have the help otherwise?
We just want him to be able to have a normal life and be healthy. So, and I think we're on our way there.
I just hope that he's happy and that he feels success at whatever level he thinks success is.
I'm Carson, and I'm a champion. Thank you, Children's Hospital.